What's up, guys? Welcome to the Do Good Movement. Our purpose here is to make a positive impact in our society through real life education. The movement comes into play when you share the content to help other people do good just like you. Not every day you get to sit down with your role model, but today I get to sit down with one of mine. Welcome, Damon West.
Oh, I'm grateful to be here. Yeah.
It's made my year. Like this is
Seriously?
This is a
Man,
big moment for me.
That makes me feel so good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And it's not just because you're Damon West. Like there's only a couple people, like the podcasts I listen to, the YouTubes I watch, that like there's a lot of people that have success, but you lead with your heart.
Yeah.
You know, like you all these other things are coming from because like you're a guy that pushes love and you care for people, you know? And so there's not many people like that.
Well, you're the same way. We're both vessels. You're just a vessel. I'm a vessel.
Yeah.
And as long as you understand you're just a vessel for something bigger going on, you'll continue to be this great vessel. And
Yeah.
people will look to you for guidance, for hope, and whatever you believe in. I mean, I'm a Christian, so I believe in Christ. But I
Same
mean,
here.
you know, I'm in program recovery. I work a 12-step program recovery, and we always talk about a higher power. So you give people the freedom to choose what they believe in. But I always tell people, man, find whatever your higher power is. And again, we're Christians, so ours is Christ. But find your higher power and turn your life and your will over to that thing. And then that's when the big stuff starts happening. I don't believe human beings are capable of of seeing the kind of gains that I saw in my life, the kind of gains you see in your life, without a spiritual awakening. And that's really the key component, because the spiritual awakening, that's where your stuff like servant leadership is. That's where your stuff is like you're guided by what I call the four spiritual principles: unselfish, honest, pure, and loving, right? Because when you make decisions based on a place of unselfish, honest, pure, and loving, that's where the good stuff happens.
Yeah.
But the opposite of that, right, is like selfish, self-seeking, self-want, self-desire, self-delusion. Those businesses don't do well.
Yeah, 100%.
But the four spiritual principles businesses do great, you know? And that's how you lead your company. That's one of the things I was attracted to with you when I met you through time. Man. Yeah, I mean, well, the first way I meet y'all, right, is like you're doing a donation to a city of a turf field. And it ended up being the Dallas Cowboys field. And in the state of Texas, Dallas Cowboys are everything. And I'm like, man, these people are incredible. So
thank you.
I wanted to do more to get aligned with y'all and your mission in life. And you invited me here to this podcast today is like the icing on the cake,
huge,
brother.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking earlier, it's like, okay, you have a thing tonight, you have a thing tomorrow, and then made time, like you're just hungry. Like, okay, I'm gonna come sit with Dylan and do a podcast for him. I was like, and then you tell me that after you talk, you go around and then exchange numbers. Like,
Yeah.
what keeps you that hungry?
Man, I wake up every day with so much gratitude. Like, and everybody's got perspective in life, but sometimes we can get so far away from when the bad times were, we forget about what it looks like to be in a place of desperation, a place of a time of need. And it's this little 3-word saying: position determines perspective. Wherever you go and whatever you've been, your experiences in life determine the world that you see. And my position in life happens to be that I used to live in a maximum security level 5 prison. And I never knew if or when I was getting out of the place. I figured I would get out at some point. I just didn't know when.
Sentence for 65
Yeah, I got
years?
sentenced to 65 years, which is a life sentence in Texas. So 60 and above is life in Texas. And the jury, they gave you 65, they're really giving you a life sentence. And so I got sentenced to life in prison. They could keep me the entire time if they wanted to. But I also know that the time that I had in prison, and I didn't figure this out on my own. I had some teachers along the way. We're going to talk about that because I think everybody needs coaches.
Yeah.
And you got to have the right coaches. But I had some good people along the way that pulled me aside and said, hey, if you'll do this, this, and this, you know, if you'll change the way you think about this, because thinking's everything, then you will see great gains. And that's what I think that it's...
Did you believe him at the time, like going into prison and hearing that? Like,
no, I mean, I believe because I was so desperate to hold on to anything. It was like I was open. And that's the thing about messengers, right? We meet messengers in life, and sometimes we miss the message because we didn't pay attention to the messenger. Maybe it's like, hey, this person didn't come from the same background as me, or they don't have that same education I do, or they didn't grow up like I did. Why would I listen to them? And that's a big mistake.
Right.
Because the messengers can come from anywhere in life. The messengers don't always look like
It's
you.
that one little nudge.
They don't come from the same background as you. They won't, different race, different gender, ethnicity, different religion, politics. Because all these things can be opposite of you. But these messengers, that's what I think is the spiritual force working in your favor. Like the messengers are going to come on the road of life. But the trick is you have to be receptive to all the messengers. And so you ask me, like, every day I'm doing this, but every day I get up and I've got this mindset I can't believe this is my life. And instead of I have to,
That's
I
cool.
get to, man. I get to wake up every day and I get to go out and impact the world with this message. And even if I'm not on the road, I'm at home, I get to be with my family. I get to have, this incredible life today. And every day is just a 24-hour period, man. And I don't look at like the future as much as I can't say I never do because my mind's always working.
We just don't know if the future's going to ever be here.
But I try to live in the present, try to live in the moment. And who taught me this? Again, one of the messengers in life. We're going to talk about the messengers today. So this old Army Ranger that was in prison with me, serving life, they called him Ranger. And Ranger was impervious to the world around us. And the world around us is chaos in prison, Dylan. It's crazy. And I mean, nothing bothered this guy. You couldn't shake him, you couldn't rattle him. So I asked him one day, I was like, man, dude, Ranger, how do you do that? I want what you got.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, but you have to live in the moment. And he said, live in the moment means, he said, hey, man, when I get up in the morning and I'm going to go to first chow, I'm focused on going to first chow. I'm there, I'm in the moment, I'm watching everything going around me, I'm at first chow. And ditto with, everything throughout the day, the rec yard, hanging out in the day room. I'm focused, I'm there, I live in this prison. He said, but the people that lose their mind in there, the people that can't keep it together, their minds are somewhere else. They're not
thinking about the next thing or what could go wrong.
Right, and if they're not in the moment. He said, if you live in the moment, you're going to see two things that are going to happen for you every single day in the moment. Is obstacles are going to be one thing you're going to see. An obstacle. If you live in the moment, you see an obstacle, you can sidestep it, you can step over it, you can avoid an obstacle, you can read the room kind of thing. The other thing you're going to see every day if you're in the moment is opportunities. Now, opportunities won't ever necessarily come around again. They can just pop up one time and then they're gone forever. But if you don't live in the moment, you miss obstacles and opportunities. And that's the thing he said you have to be aware for every single day. And so I get up every day and I still think about the messengers in life. I think about, Muhammad, who told me the story of the coffee bean in Dallas County Jail.
Yeah.
Carlos, my first cellmate, this little bank robber from San Antonio. He's serving life, but he's got all this knowledge in the world. JT, the old mobster guy that I meet in prison. He's got all this old wisdom, man. And
well, in your book, you're talking about that at first. You're nervous of like, who's my cellmate going to be?
Right.
And then after, I think it was Carlos, right?
Yeah.
You're excited for the next one because you're able to gain and learn, like, what's the message going to be? What's the learning going to be?
Yeah, that was the mindset. Yeah, exactly. So you're hitting on it. Like I would, like whoever the next cellmate's going to be, he's going to be a teacher because everybody's a teacher. People teach you how to do things the right way. Some people that teach you how not to do something right.
That's right.
But I have a mindset that everybody's a teacher. So I'm just aware and I'm just watching all the time and looking for the teacher to come along. There's a saying that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like what my life is, man. I'm the student, man. I'm always waiting for the teacher to appear.
That's amazing. Were you always this optimistic?
When I was focused on football, I was, football in Texas is a big deal. You probably heard of Friday Night Lights, stuff like that. So it's a real thing, man. It's a phenomenon. So when I played football in Texas, man, I was into that, man. It was my life, my identity, and I was good at it, man. I was a Division I starting quarterback.
Wow.
When I got to college. 20 years old, I'm a starting quarterback on a D1 team. But I got injured in 1996 against Texas A&M. My career was over. My redshirt sophomore year, I'm 20 years old. I get injured, and no more football for Damon. And that was a fork in the road in my life, and I started making a lot of wrong turns because my identity was gone at that point. And that's when the optimism just falls off, man. I just don't handle the injury well. I don't have a backup plan. I don't have a plan B.
Change just happened on you.
Yeah, we talk about a plan B, right? I didn't have a plan B for life. And when that was gone, I didn't know how to get it back. And I would argue, Dylan, that I didn't get that focus, that zest for life back until I became the head of an organized crime ring. Now, that sounds like a weird thing to say, but my fifth grade teacher told me, Miss Greenberg told me, she said, Damon, you are a leader, and you're gonna lead people. And she said, but you're either gonna lead them the right way or the wrong way. She said, I just don't know which for you because there's no telling, right? I was a mischievous kid. She said, but you're going to lead people the right way, the wrong way in life. You're a leader. And she was right on both, man. I was the quarterback. I was the leader of a team.
Yeah.
And then after that was gone, I became the leader of a very bad team, an organized crime ring.
So it is a challenge. You like to be challenged and then having the accomplishment from it.
What you talked about a while ago, you like to push back when you're in business,
dude,
right?
so sorry to interrupt you, but I just went through that. So February of last year, I built my team up to a good portion. I promised myself, like, hey, when I'm 30, because I have 2 little daughters, and I'm like, I'm going to go as hard as I can until I'm 30.
Yeah.
I'm giving it everything, right? Like, everything's on the line. And I set myself up. So right after I hit 30, went a little bit longer, got my team fully engaged, and I handed over the company. My last day at the company was February 8th of 2024. And I'll never...
Just turf distributors?
Turf distributors, yeah,
okay.
In all the brands. I had a CEO that was with me for a while overseeing it. And I'm like, I'm done. You know, and it was all set up ahead of time, like I did the handoff and all of that, and I went and spent time with my amazing family, my kids, and all of that. And when I'm working, I'm challenging, I'm accomplishing, I'm on this high up here, right?
Yeah, man.
And so I thought I would be making the
I can feel what you're talking about right here, man. Keep going, man. Keep going.
I make this transition over to like 18-year-old kid from washing dishes to building this empire, and, you know, all that stuff. And it was like, you know, week 1 was cool, week 2 was cool. Okay, what are we doing? There's no plan for today. Okay, I'm gonna learn how to cook. And then it just started. I think I made it like 4 weeks until I'm like, something's wrong with me. Like Austin Powers, like I lost my mojo.
Yeah.
like where's Dylan? You know, I was freaking out, like going through like a midlife crisis.
By the way, it's cool to hear that you watched Austin Powers, because I'm 50 and just to know that someone that's 32. That was my generation. We loved Austin Powers. I was in college when it came out.
Yeah.
Keep going though.
But so then that's how we got into the next business. I just started researching stuff and then having to be challenged again and accomplishing the next thing. And I think what you're talking about, how you're wired, and I think a lot of people are wired that way but don't know of like, hey man, what's it, Damon guy has something special, or Dylan has something special. Where's this energy come from? Like, I see your social media, you're up early on planes, podcast here, talking here, like you're all over the place. And a lot of times people think, oh, Damon must be born with that. But I think it's because you like to be challenged, and then you like the feeling of accomplishment.
100%. 100%. And then that's where the energy comes from, right? You, me, we're tapping into a reservoir of our purpose. And when you tap into the reservoir of your purpose, you know, you've got this extra level that you can play at, man. Because like you, and I see it with you, and same thing with me. Like, I'm playing at a different level. You're playing at a different level. And when I got into the crime world, you know, I was a stockbroker in Dallas when I got introduced to meth for the first time in 2004. And so 18 months later, I'm living on the streets, and I'm like, this is looking like Damon's going down, dude. I'm circling the drain at this point. I'm homeless at one point. I live in dope house. I sleep in car. I slept on park benches, Dylan. I've been on the streets. But then I got around those other dope fiends, and we started breaking into, like into storage units and then cars. But then we started breaking into people's
homes. You got
homes.
too good at that. You're like going for the next thing.
But the real win for the thief is to get inside of a person's house, right? Because if you're a thief and you're a drug addict, that's where the stuff is going to be. Like you can sustain a little bit off of the change in an ashtray in a car, or the change in a cup holder, you know?
Right.
Or maybe, you know, back then the radios could pop off the faces of the radios. So you remember those?
So the jackpot, though, is in the house.
The jackpot's in the house. And look, this is like, when we're getting to the phase of talk about this, I want to throw this out there for everybody listening to this. Like, when I was a burglar, when I broke into people's houses, Dylan, I didn't just steal property from my victims. I stole something way more valuable from my victims. I stole something from my victims they'll never be able to replace, and that's their sense of security. And when I tell you I stole it from them, it's gone, because I can't give it back to them. I can't change what I did. I can't even apologize to my victims. In Texas, they got a law that says you can't apologize to the victim of crime.
Oh, that's hard.
Well, they'll send you back to prison in Texas if you apologize. So my victims are going to live with that for the rest of their lives. But that's another thing about this, the layer of this story. You know, what motivates you? Like, every day I wake up, I'm on parole for the rest of my life. So it's like stepping into the batter's box. It's 0-2 every day when you get into the batter's box. And they're humming them, man.
And it's that reminder.
They're throwing 103 mile an hour fastballs. They've got breaking balls. I mean, so it's 0-2 every day when I get up. But I've also got this reminder that there's a lot of destruction that was left in my wake. Now, I never committed any crimes where anybody was home. Right?
Right.
So no, I don't have physical victims of my crimes. It's one of the reasons I got out early from prison. It's one of the reasons they could parole me out, because I don't have physical victims. No one was ever home. I never used any weapons. I never saw my victims. They never saw me.
Yeah, good.
But I'm reminded every day by the things I did and the pain that I caused these people, that I have to show up every day and I have to be the best version of me. And I've got to make sure that my life is representation that Damon West was given the second chance, and that second chance has purpose, man. Damon West has purpose, you know? And so that's one of the things I think about every day too. But in 2004, when I lost my job as a broker because I'm high on meth all the time, that I'm homeless, and you know, when I start doing the burglary game, I found another purpose, because I got into the burglary stuff. I had a crew of people that looked up to me, right? I'm the head of an organized crime ring at this point. There's about a dozen other meth addicts, young and old, male and female, black and white, everything in between, because drugs and addiction don't discriminate. And I bet you've got somebody in your family that's an addict, right?
Right.
Or somebody you know that's an addict.
Yep.
Addiction touches everybody in this country, whether you're the addict, the victim of an addict, the family member of an addict, the friend of an addict, or the taxpayer. The taxpayers are paying in to this overburdened criminal justice system that has no idea how to handle addiction. Addiction touches everybody. But there I am, an addict in my addiction. I'm smoking meth every day, and you know, you would think that this guy's circling the drain. But when I became the leader of this crew of other people, I was on the field again. I was a quarterback again. I'm getting the pressure pushed against me. Now I got to figure out how do we get us.
Do
how
the
do I get
plays.
it? Yeah, how do I get everybody in and out, and say, you know, how do we get everybody in and out? We get what we need and don't get caught. One of the first burglaries I did, I broke into a U.S. post office. I stole a mailman uniform, Dylan.
Wow.
The hat, the suit, the bag, everything, man. Now I was a mailman. And no one really knows what their mailman looks like, right? The
Right.
mailman can run around with impunity in neighborhoods. A mailman can go into a condo building where they have these mail kiosks, right? Inside these condo buildings in uptown Dallas, it's like a room that has boxes on the outside. You have a key to your one little box, right?
Yeah.
And all the residents have a key to their one little box, but there's a door too there that opens up, and the mailman goes in there, and there's all these slots for open mail.
Yeah, it's like behind the mailbox.
And if you can get in that room, then you can see the slots that have stacks of mail because no one's home. Or they have notes in there for the mailman. It says, out of town from this date to this date, hold our mail. So one of the first burglaries I do, and I realize I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to put effort into it. I broke into the post office, I got a mailman uniform, and I would sit outside these condo buildings and wait for the real mailman to leave, to finish doing his job. 15 minutes later, I get out of my vehicle, I walk up to the condo building. I don't have to have a key fob. People are getting the gate for the mailman, right? Once they let me in, I'm the Trojan horse, because now I'm going to the mailroom and I can pick a lock fast. I'm picking that deadbolt on that door to the mailroom. I'm inside, all the slots. Tells you who's home, who's not. And that's how I make my list. Like every Saturday, we're knocking off 4 or 5 condos in one building. I got a dozen dope fiends dressed up in Dickie overalls. I got a box truck. We got dollies. We got clipboards.
This whole empire of...
Dude, I mean, it's like people are getting the doors for us. They're holding the gates, and we're unloading their neighbors' houses or their neighbors' condos into a truck. Yeah, man. So, and like when I'm in there, man, and I start running, it's like well, you hit the nail on the head. I'm running plays, man. Like I'm in there, I'm like, okay, time to play a little defense, right? I want to find the key fob, because if someone's gone for a week or two, they're usually not going to take their car to the airport. This is before Uber. They take a cab or have a friend drop them off. I'm looking around that person's condo for their spare key. Everybody's got them. Kitchen drawer, maybe it's hanging in the kitchen, maybe it's in the bedroom in the nightstand, maybe it's in the office in the lap drawer that pulls out, right?
Right.
The spare key's in that place somewhere, and if I find it, then I'll go to the parking garage of this condo building. Nicest part of Dallas, man, uptown Dallas. Hit the button, the key fob, until I hear boop, boop. Now I've got a Mercedes, I've got a Land Rover, I've got a BMW, I've got a very nice $100,000 car, and I would load that car up with all the things you don't want to get caught with from a burglary, right? Wallet, credit cards, laptop, everything you can trace back to a burglary. Throw it in the backseat of this $100,000 car. Have one of these people in the burglary crew follow me to the worst neighborhoods in Dallas, man. The ghettos, the barrios. Find a car wash that's hopping on the weekend in the hood. Pull up, window rolled down, music blaring. Pull up to the car wash, leave the engine running, keys on the console, get out and take off and go meet my partner in crime about a block away. I don't know how long those cars sat in those car washes in the busy neighborhoods in the hood. 5 minutes maybe before someone said, hey man, a white boy left his car and he left it running. Oh man, let's get it. We can go for a ride now. Look in the back seat, man. He left his credit cards back there. Let's go buy some beer and cigarettes at that store right there.
Oh, wow.
Now, man, now you're dropping clues. You know, I played a game of cat and mouse with the Dallas police for 3 years, man. And so, talk about the pushback.
Oh, yeah.
The pushback is this, man. Now I got the Dallas Police Department looking for, they call me the Uptown Burglar. They don't know who I am. But it all came to a head, though, and this happens in 2008, July of 2008 was the last weekend we did our burglaries. My partner in crime and I, and we're circling the drain now, man. We've been on this dope for years. Oh man, I'm strung out. I'm high every day. And I've been high every day for a long time, but there's chinks in the armor, man. And I know we're gonna go down. Part of it has to do with these stolen cars, and we break into a couple places that really set the whole thing on fire. It was a July 4th weekend, almost about this time of year in 2008.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about two of the burglaries we did that weekend, and one of them we're going to come back to later in the story.
Okay.
So one of the burglaries, we broke into a cop's place, a gang unit officer in Uptown. He lived in Uptown Dallas. We get into his place. He's gone out of town, man. I get into his safe. There's his service weapon. There's his badge. There's his police uniforms. There's his radio, and we took it all.
Was there an agenda for that one?
No, and that stuff scared.
Or is it just for like the high type of thing?
The high type of thing, like, hey man, we just took this cop stuff, man, and I'm thinking to myself, hey, this is cool, man. We're gonna take this cop stuff with my partner in crime, and listen, man, when the word got out that we had a whole police uniform, badge, gun, everything, man, I mean, criminals out of the woodwork, and the scary people from the underworld were coming out. One called me up, hey man, I need to come pick that up for you, Damon. And I don't have any money, but I'm coming to get that now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I mean, if someone in the underworld that's really bad gets a hold of that, they can go kick doors and they can kidnap people. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, I took that stuff, shoved it in a trash bag, and threw it in a dumpster, man. And people came looking for it. I'm like, man, it's gone, man. Somebody already got it. Nothing they can do to me, man. They want to kill me at this point. Not literally, but they're pissed off because dope dealers, big time cartel guys and stuff like that, wanted that police uniform. So that's one thing we did that set Dallas on fire. The other burglary we did, and this is the biggest victim of my entire crime spree. We broke into this lady's condo in Uptown Dallas. And it's just Dustin and I, man. And we're looking for anything we can take to the dope man to trade for dope, right? And so we get in there and we grab some electronics that we see out there, and we find a safe in her bedroom. We pop the safe open, and inside the safe was a diamond ring. So we took the diamond ring. And actually Dustin takes the diamond ring. We both take it, but he's the one that's going to leave with it. Dustin takes the diamond ring, we take it, we leave, and we take off. And we don't think about it again. What we didn't see in that woman's apartment was the tri-folded flag on the wall, the killed in action plaque that was next to it, and all the pictures of a dead Marine, her fiance who died in 2007. He stepped on an IED in Iraq, Dylan. Defending the rights of even a scumbag like me to live in this free, beautiful country of America. This guy dies fighting for our country, and I just stole the last thing she had of him, the engagement ring. He never came back from Iraq. That's all she had. Gone. Now, once those two events happened, that last weekend of the burglaries, man, Dallas was on fire, man. I mean, like, they were searching for the Uptown Burglar. They get Dustin 10 days before they get me. So July 20th, 21st, they get Dustin of 08. And then crime, everybody talks, you know? And 10 days later, on July 30th, 2008, the Dallas SWAT team gets me, man. Dramatic SWAT team raid. They take me down. Cops are screaming and high-fiving. We got the Uptown Burglar. We got him.
That was a big deal.
It's a big deal, man. It was a high-profile case. And it was so much more high-profile now that the world was set on fire because of this ring.
Well, people were freaked out, I'm sure, of all of Dallas.
Scared
so, like, where's this guy at? What's going to happen?
Where's the service revolver? Where's all the cop stuff? They've never gotten that back. But, I mean, it was in a dumpster, thank God. I mean, because that stuff never popped up on the street somewhere. Because, I mean, and I think about it now, like, I don't want to be tied to that, to what happens to that. You know, that's bad karma. But they got me, man. They set my bond at $1.4 million. And this is the biggest bond in Dallas. There's 9,000 people in Dallas County Jail. It's one of the biggest jails in America. It's like a city when you walk inside Dallas County Jail. They set my bond at $1.4 million. I can't get out of Dallas County Jail. That's a no bond for a guy like me. And criminals are stupid. Now, the pressure, right? The pushback. I like the theme that you came up with earlier in this podcast, right? The pushback is this, man. I'm in jail. I don't have any more dope, and I'm strung out on this dope, man. I'm so addicted.
Yeah, the come off had it.
Oh man, I wanted to get high so bad. I'd see cartel guys come in. I'm like, and people from the street that I knew, man, can you get some dope brought in here? You know, one of the guards, you know, people said they could, but no one ever did. So like, really, my sobriety date, like I tell people all the time, is I got taken in sobriety at gunpoint, man. My sobriety date is July 30th, 2008. You know, that's the day I got sober, but it wasn't because I wanted to. It's because I got taken into custody, and I'm asking all these people to bring dope in, but I can't get any dope in. And then I get on the phones. Criminals are stupid. I'm calling everybody from the dope world that I've done business with, people that owe me money, Dylan.
Yeah.
Man, you owe me 25 grand for this job. Remember that job we did? Cops are listening, man. And they're just going up and picking up everybody that I'm calling off the phones, man. And they're racking them up on a racketeering charge, man. Do you want to go in this charge with Damon West? Oh, hell no. I'll tell you what you need to know. I brought the cops more evidence than they even had on me in the first place, right? Because I'm making all these crazy phone calls from jail.
Wow.
My back's against the wall. The pressure was too much. The pushback was too much, man.
Yeah.
There's a point where the pushback can be too much and you lose it all. And I lost my ability to play in a tough situation. In football, as a quarterback, they call it having poise. You have a lot of poise. For a guy that's 32 to do what you've done, you have to have a lot of poise. That means you have calmness under pressure. You can handle a pressure situation, right? Really well. The best quarterbacks do it. You know, the Brady's.
You start looking for the pressure.
The Mahomes, yeah. I mean, like, you see them in these situations and their hands are just steady. Their eyes are straightforward. They don't have a look of fear in their eyes. And that was really Damon West all this time in life, because even in football, I was good under pressure. But now, man, this pressure being in Dallas County Jail is too much. And I cracked. And I started making these calls, and I brought more heat on me. And when I get to my trial the next year in 2009, they bring up all these people that I did these crimes with. They bring up the first witness was the lady whose ring we stole, you know? And I'll never forget, Dylan, that her testimony, the pain that I caused her, it stayed with me the entire time I went to prison. Every day that I got out of prison, it was like a toxic companion that I took around with me around that maximum security prison. And that was my penance, I felt like, for what I did to her. Is I had to remind myself of the bad guy that I was, and that never left me. But
and it's probably hard too, because you're on drugs, right? And then you come off of it, right? It probably took some time, and then your probably emotion and sense of like everything going on came back, and that was, I'm sure where it hit hard.
You see the monster that you were.
Yeah.
You know, and whenever you can be put into a situation in life, and you can get taken down to where your ego is stripped from you, your property, your possessions, everything in life, and it's just stripped totally bare. It's a place called rock bottom. And rock bottom, although it's a very scary place to be because it's at the very bottom and it means you got nowhere else to fall, it can also be a very good foundation to build a new life on, you know? And
that's key for everybody listening.
Everybody
right?
listening,
a lot, like what I love about you is I'm sure we're going to get into more of it, but you're stacked with adversity, right?
Yeah.
Like we're going to jump into that. You're stacked with adversity. You got these cards in your hand, more than anybody I've ever met, but it's all relative, right? A lot of people are stacked with adversity, and a lot of people say, hey man, my life's changed, I can't do anything about it, right? And what I love about you is all this adversity came to you and you took it as opportunity to become Damon West today.
But you get it, man. You have that mindset. You look for the opportunity in the adversity. And it doesn't, even if you get to a situation where it doesn't happen right away, the answers don't appear right away, because they're not. But you have to wake up every day with the belief that there's answers in here somewhere. There's opportunities in here somewhere. And I'm just going to keep looking until I find them. Ed Milet told me something. He said, you know, that you're always closer to your goals than you think you are. And a lot of people give up before they get to where they want to be in life because they don't see the results fast enough. You know, a lot of people want this thing called the overnight success. It doesn't exist.
Right.
There's no such thing as an overnight success. But Ed also told me this. He said, you're most qualified to help the person that you once were. And I didn't know that saying, that Ed's, the way he said it, until I met Ed in 2022. But I started seeing that, you know, when we get to this part of the story in prison, I started realizing that principle in life, and I started living that principle. And when we get to a place in life where we find ways to serve other people and help them reach their goals in life, servant leadership, helping everybody reach their goals in life, that's when we become the best version of us too. but I was a long way from that. May 18th, 2009, when I'm in that jury trial, and the jury comes back and sentences me to life in prison, I'm so far away from being a servant leader. I know that something has to change and that something's me, but I don't have a clue how I'm going to do it, right? There's a quote that I came across a few years ago, and it really struck a chord with me. It's from James Clear. And he said, if someone took control of your life tomorrow, what's the first thing they would change? And that is a deep question, right? If someone takes control of your life tomorrow, what's the first thing they would change? But the trick is this, you know the answer to the question, right? And then if you know the answer and you're not making the change, the question then goes back to you, why are you not making that change? I believe the answer to that question lies in some form of fear. Change is scary. Change is difficult. Change, it takes us outside of our comfort zone. But, that's a great place to navigate towards, outside your comfort zone. That's where growth takes place, right? I put myself in a situation in life where someone did take control of my life. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice took control of Damon West's life. When they sentenced you to life in prison, they took my life from
And then
me.
in your book, you talk about those being your angels.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Dallas SWAT, man. Dallas SWAT saved my life that day. That's the mindset shift, right? These people didn't just arrest me, they rescued me. And it's incumbent upon me to honor that. I went and found them, Dylan. I went and found them years later and met with Dallas SWAT and thanked them for saving my life. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, and tell them, man, anytime you have trouble getting equipment, give me the list. I'll buy it for. I bought them $20,000 worth of gear now.
That's so cool.
Yeah, man. It's I want to make sure they go home safely to their families, right? Because all they're doing is saving lives, but sometimes they don't get to see the fruits. A lot of times they don't get to see how important their jobs are. And that was the point of me going out and thanking Dallas SWAT 15 years later.
Right.
You need to see that your job matters. You came into my apartment that day. You didn't know I was going to be dangerous. You didn't know if I was going to put up a fight.
Yeah.
You used enough restraint to where I had a modicum of a second chance in life to turn it all around, They gave me a window of opportunity by just taking me in custody.
That's such a good way to look at things.
Yeah,
man, it's like me and my business, right? Going to my competitor and be like, thank you for pushing on me for all these years.
You've done that?
No, but I need to.
Yeah.
Now listen to you.
That's wild, man.
Yeah. No, thank you for making it hard. Thank you for recruiting my people.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking bad. Right? Because look at the life I have now because of that.
I wouldn't do it if you didn't push me.
That's right.
Yeah. And so
that perspective is amazing.
Yeah, man. And so that stuff doesn't happen overnight, though. And so I want people to understand, where you are, where I am in life, it takes time. Results take time to measure. What you're going to hear today, the story we're going to tell, this story, man, the brand that I have today, the Coffee Bean and Damon West and everybody that sees this now, I got out of prison in 2015, but I started building that brand in 2010 in a dungeon, When I was in prison, I don't want to get far ahead. I'm going to come back to where I start building the brand. First, we got to get there. We got to get to prison. So right after the trial was over, May 18, 2009, my mom and my dad get a visit with me, and the visit, it doesn't go well for me. My mom gives me this ultimatum.
Did she know you're doing all that stuff?
They knew something was wrong with me, but they didn't know what it was, and they lived 6 hours away. So when they would call, I would lie. Addicts lie a lot. We're manipulative. We do everything. We want what we want when we want it. And, I think addicts have the ability, if they can focus it in the right direction, that way they think, if they can focus in the right direction on something positive and good. And
change the world.
Change the world. You can change it. I mean, if you focus on something good and positive, there's no telling what you can do. I mean, you look at some of the, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was addicted to being the best, and he was addicted. Steve Jobs didn't invent things. He took things other people invented and he made them better, He didn't invent the mouse. Hewlett Packard did that, but he put the mouse into a PC and it made it better. Steve Jobs was addicted to winning. He was addicted to success. And so, but it was put in a good direction, and you get all the Apple products now. I'm in Dallas County Jail. My parents tell me, hey, my mom's like, hey, you can't get in one of these whitehead groups, these Aryan Brotherhood gangs. Don't come back with a bunch of tattoos. She's like, no gangs, no tattoos. She said, come back as the man we raised, or don't come back at all.
It's almost an impossible mission.
Yeah, man, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I tell my mom, yeah, I got it. I understand the mission. And I get it. I owe a debt to them. I was like, I understand the debt I got to pay. But inside, in reality, I'm like, there's no way I'm paying this debt off. How am I going to do that? Probably like you felt some days when you woke up and wanted to quit because your mom co-signed $500,000, or your dad sells all his rent houses for you, right?
You owe it to him.
You owe it to him, man. So now I owe this debt. And I'm sober, and I'm like, okay, the only way I can redeem myself is to live out this debt, do this the right way. And I run around Dallas County Jail. I've got a couple months before the prison bus comes to get me. And I'm frantically asking everybody how I'm going to survive. What am I going to do? And every guy I'm talking to in there is telling me the same thing. You have to get into a gang, except for this one guy, this old black man named Muhammad. Now, Muhammad, we'll call him the first messenger in this story. The first messenger, Muhammad, old black guy, been in prison, in and out of prison all his life, career criminal, right? But he's a real positive guy, always smiling. He comes up to me one day. He's telling me about prison. You know, he said, hey, you know, race runs everything inside this place. You're going to fight the white gangs first. If you survive the white gangs, then you'll fight the black gangs. If you survive all that, you'll earn the right to walk alone. He tells me things like, you don't have to win all your fights, but you do have to fight all your fights, you know?
Yeah, it's tough to hear.
Yeah, man. That's like, you know, he's telling me, you're going to lose a lot, but you're going to win a few times too. Don't worry about the wins and losses. He told me nobody in prison cares about who wins and loses. They just want to see that you're going to defend yourself. They want to see you fight. So fight. And I'm struggling with this, man. He can see I'm struggling. And that's when he shares with me one of the most important messages I've ever heard in my life. He said, I want you to imagine prison as a pot of boiling water. He said, anything we put into this pot of boiling water will be changed by the heat and the pressure inside this pot. He said, I'm going to put 3 things in this pot of boiling water and watch how they change. A carrot, an egg, and a coffee bean. So Dylan, here's where I first hear the story of the coffee bean. It's the summer of 2009 in a jail cell in Dallas County Jail, 10 years before John Gordon and I write this mega bestseller book called The Coffee Bean in 2019.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's crazy, man. So I'm in this county jail, and he's telling me the pot of boiling water is prison. Carrot goes in the pot of boiling water hard, becomes soft out of the water. The egg goes into a pot of boiling water with a soft liquid inside, but the inside, the yolk, the heart, becomes hardened. He said, you don't want to be the carrot. You don't want to be the egg. You made a promise to your mom and dad you wouldn't become the carrot, the egg. But the coffee bean, he said, was different than the other 3. The coffee bean actually changed the water to coffee. It was the change agent, right? He said, so the coffee bean, the power inside the coffee bean changed the water around the coffee bean. And he said, you have that power inside you to change the water around you inside that prison. The power's inside you, just like the power's inside the coffee bean. In fact, the last words he ever told me, be a coffee bean. And then I'm off. I go to prison. I get shipped to the Mark Stiles unit in Beaumont, Texas. Mark Stiles is the max security level 5 prison in Texas. Level 5s are the highest security level you can live in. That's where lifers go. And in Texas, if you get
very dangerous in there.
Extremely dangerous. It's one of the most dangerous places on the planet.
And then Muhammad's telling you, don't join them. Don't become soft. Don't become hard. Go change that prison.
Go change that prison. That's your job. You know.
What?
You want some pushback? You want a little pressure in life? That's it. But the pot of boiling water is the pressure, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has to deal with their own pot of boiling water. And that's like the theme you set for this thing in the beginning is great. The pushback, man.
Yeah.
Because then when you're in that pot of boiling water, it's pushing at you, man. There's things happening to you, man. Things are going on around you. But the power's inside you to change this water. And that's what he's telling me. You can do this, Wes. But look, man, I don't know how I'm going to do it. First of all, when I get to prison, I found out the life sentence people in Texas, if you get a life sentence, you have to live with other lifers. You don't live with general population. So it's a place where almost 500 people live in one building. Everybody's got life.
There's a lot of hope.
There's no hope. I was going to say, there's no hope in this building. And I'm fighting for my life, man. And it's constant fighting. And the first 2 months is a bloodbath. I probably get in 3 dozen fights and lose 75% of these fights. I'm going to repeat that for everybody listening, for all the hard times you have in life. If you're a business owner or whatever, I'm getting to a fight almost every single day, and I lose 3 out of 4 of these things, man.
And you keep getting up.
Keep getting up, man. I keep getting up. I get up and I face each day. So there's days that I took a break. There's days I didn't go to the chow hall. I didn't even eat because I didn't want to fight that day. You know?
But it's good perspective, like, right? You said it for everybody listening.
Yeah.
We're all getting in fights every day with
You
something
are.
going on in business. As you talk about what's going on between the 2 ears, like there's stuff you go on and is like, for everybody listening is what Damon's talking about. You got to get up.
Yeah.
You got to fight back. Just because you get knocked down doesn't mean it's okay to fold and surrender.
And the cool thing about this is what you're saying is it's exactly what Muhammad said. No one's counting your wins and losses. No one even knows that number but you know?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's watching to see, everybody. Your family, your coworkers, your friends, your country.
Yeah.
They want to see if you're going to get back up.
And check out your story.
Yeah.
Your biggest loss became your biggest win.
Right, exactly. Your biggest liability can turn into your biggest asset, right? And that's when you're really winning in life, in business. In your business, if you can take a liability let's say it's some old damaged turf, right? When you're first starting this thing out.
That's right.
If you can find somebody to take that damaged turf off your hands and actually give you some money back in your pocket, that's a win, right?
That's how I started my business.
That's a
I bought
double
people,
win.
they're writing it off. I came in with cents on the dollar. They had to take the write-off. I bought their loss
Boom!
and then built the empire.
You took a,
And now,
you took
now
a
we're at the top of the
liability-
food chain of what we're doing.
You took a liability and created an asset out of it.
That's right.
That's how you're winning in life. And you can do this in any phase of your life, right?
Yep.
Turn your liabilities into assets. And that's what I'm doing inside this prison, man. I'm getting up every day. I'm showing up. I'm fighting. I'm losing. But after 2 months of constant fighting, the violence is finally over. I'd earned my right to exist in there. I didn't have to join a gang. Everybody left me alone. And once that was over, I started working on myself. And it happened as a result of a conversation with my first cellmate, Carlos. Now, Carlos is a little bank robber, about a little 5'4" guy, a little bank robber from San Antonio.
Yeah.
Served 99 years. Good guy, though. Real nice guy. But, hey, it's prison.
No,
man.
yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta make-
And people change, man.
Yeah.
You talked about hitting rock bottom. Like, the good thing about rock bottom is you got a choice. Do
Yeah.
I go become the person I was, or do I go become somebody different? Like, everybody knows who I am. And that's what I love about you also. You wear it on your sleeve of, here's all the mistakes I made.
Yeah.
Here's who I was. Here's what I did wrong. Nobody could come at you and say anything else. Like, you own it.
My dad told me whenever I got out, and I was already talking about wanting to speak whenever I was in prison, because I got a letter from my favorite teacher growing up, Mr. Jellin. Mr. Jellin wrote me a letter, 2011, I think is when we got this letter, 2011. And in the letter, he's telling me, you've been the highest to highs, the lowest to lows, but you've always bounced back. You've always been a leader. Another teacher telling me that, right?
Yeah.
He said, I believe you'll bounce back from this, and when you do, you should share your story with other people because you can bring them hope. And that was a seed that planted everything. Now I had focus. I had a mission.
Another
right?
messenger.
Yeah, another messenger. The teacher. He writes me. There's the messenger, right? This gave me a purpose every single day. I could see finally what the goal was. And that's what we ought to have. We ought to have something we're working towards, right? Because otherwise you're just kind of wandering around, right? You've got to have clearly defined goals in life. And in prison, I had that clearly defined goal. All right, I'm going to get out. I'm going to turn this thing around. What does my story look like? And that's when I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm in a maximum secure level 5 prison. I got sentenced to life in prison. Not a good story, right? But I can write better chapters, and I'm going to start writing them in here. And that's what I started working myself. Carlos, he tells me, man, here's how you're going to do this. You want to turn this thing around? He said, you want to become a coffee bean? You have to change the way you think. He said, your thinking is everything, right? Your thinking controls all your actions and everything else. But he said, your problem right now is you think prison's a punishment when you should be thinking prison is your opportunity. Just turned everything on its head, right?
You guys need to get his book.
Yeah,
It's in, this story's in there, which is good.
it's like an opportunity, right? No one ever said that before, and I didn't understand what he was saying. He said, but he told me, he said, this is your opportunity, man. In this place, you can work on yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's the only environment where you can really do that, right? You're in prison. You can selfishly work on yourself 24 hours a day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can be the best version of yourself possible while you're here. And when he told me that, it was right before lights out one night. And he asked me, before we both hit the sack, he said, hey man, what are you going to do tomorrow with your opportunity? What are you going to do tomorrow? And it's one of those things like the messenger.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's like, this little guy refused to call prison a punishment, and God put him in the cell with me. In your life, out there listening right now, and it's just a camera where I'm talking to them, looking at you listening.
yeah.
So in your life, you don't have to be in the prison cell, right? And there's a lot of different ways to be in prison. I meet more people out there here in the free world that are locked up than I ever did when I started time in real prison, because more people are in prison by their thoughts, by their things, and by their prejudices than by steel bars and barbed wire and concrete combined. But here's the deal. Just like I had Carlos in my cell with me to be the messenger that night, we're in this world now. You've got podcasts. You've got all the best self-help books. You can do it all, man. You've got all the messengers at your fingertips.
That's right.
And you got to focus on that. Find the right messengers and follow that message, because success leaves clues,
Well, you just said how more people are in prison in their minds. I literally think about that every day.
Yeah.
The first time I heard it was when you're on Ed's show.
Yeah.
And I think about that all the time. Because I'm sitting here of like, I have problems going on and whatever, but it's all perspective on how I'm looking at it.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
And you could be, like, the other thing, both times I met you, you're very present. Like, you're right in it,
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll catch myself being with somebody and I'm somewhere else.
Yeah.
And all I just want to be is right here.
Yeah, and your wheels are probably spinning in your head like mine are all the time.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about the next thing going on, but I have to do the same thing. I mean, I gotta reel it back in. I'm like, okay, wait, you gotta be focused right here, because if I'm not focused right here, I'm gonna miss something, and I don't want to miss whatever it is right here I'm supposed to see. I learned how to pray. Speaking of that, being present, being aware. When I got into the 12-step program recovery in prison, I learned how to pray, because addiction's a very selfish thing, Dylan. Addicts, we want what we want when we want it. I keep saying that all the time. Addiction is very selfish. And in the program recovery, you want to become selfless, because you want to become something that you're out there serving the greater mankind. And to do that, every day I had to start off with a routine. And the first thing in the routine is I got up and I do prayer and meditation. And I still do it to this day. Prayer, in my opinion, this is my definition of prayer. Prayer is when you talk to God. Meditation is when you listen to God. So that's the two differences. So
that's good.
I have a prayer that I've been praying since I got into recovery in 2011. And whatever religion or whatever faith you are, you can have my prayer. And I get up every morning and I say, hey, God, put in front of me what you need me to do today for you. And let me recognize that when I see it, because I don't want to miss whatever that thing is. Amen. That sets my whole day up, right? Now I'm looking for ways to serve. I'm going to be useful today.
Yeah.
I got a purpose, man.
You're looking for the message.
I'm looking for it, man. What'd you need me to do today, God? I got it, man. I'm on it, And here's what I believe. And I believe that everybody can believe whatever they want to believe in life, by the way. Religion, in my opinion, is a man-made thing. Spirituality is your conscious contact with whatever you call God. And you can pick whatever you believe in. But find that thing and turn your life and your will over to a higher power. 95% of the world believes in the supreme being. And if 95% of the world goes and says, hey, I'm going to turn my life and my will over to something positive with the supreme being, what kind of a world will we have then? That's what I got from the 12 steps. And so I started getting the secret sauce, man, of how I'm going to turn this thing around. One of the first things I learned about is servant leadership. Servant leadership. Helping other people reach their goals in life, helping to raise other people to a different station of life.
You just gave me a trigger. I want to interrupt you real quick.
Go for it, man. Let's do this. I want to hear, because I'm here to hear some of your story too.
No, yeah. I think you're so good at what you do by what you just said, of being a servant leader, and how just hearing your prayer, right? Of like, put things in my life so I could go do your work. Like, what am I supposed to do for you today?
Yeah.
Right? And so when you talk in front of big crowds, or when you go into hearing how you went to that Toyota Center, right?
Yeah.
To go talk to Dabo and all the other coaches to talk to their team.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a little bit of fear, but what I personally do, and it sounds like you do the same thing, is like anything that will start making me nervous, I'm like, it's not about me.
Yeah.
I'm just the messenger.
Yeah.
Right? And you take yourself out of it, and it pulls the anxiety down, it pulls the stress down, and be like, man, whatever's supposed to happen in my life is supposed to happen. Like, I went through a very rough patch of business a few times, and I was telling my buddy, I was like, dude, I'm not going to worry about this anymore. If this business is not for me, I'm going to give it everything I have. But if that doesn't work, and if God wants me to go work at McDonald's or greet people at Walmart, I'm going to do it with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
I'm happy I got to go learn this life, but there's a bigger purpose, something I'm supposed to do, an impact I'm supposed to make happen. And that's how you could get excited about life.
Sure.
Of like, hey, man, my life doesn't suck. I'm doing if you start doing what you're called to go do.
You're living in your purpose.
That's right. And that's where happiness and energy comes from.
That's exactly it. And you don't have to be living, your purpose doesn't have to be on these big stages all over the world like I am. It doesn't have to be owning one of the biggest turf distributing companies in the world,
Right.
Your purpose can be that you are a father or a mother or a husband or a wife, and that is your family is your purpose. Your purpose can be anything, but find your purpose, find your lane, and go in it full speed, man.
That's right. It could be changing one person's life.
Changing
like
one
Bob,
person.
I didn't get to tell you about Bob.
Tell me about Bob.
Bob was my partner for the first 3 years. So,
So
I'm interrupting your story, but let's jump into this.
But this is what I want to know. So this is the guy from Craigslist that you answered the ad for.
Yeah, so he had an ad on Craigslist selling a dirt bike. I wanted a dirt bike to go racing. I go to Bob's house. I was a kid. I was washing dishes at the time with my buddy Mac. And I had this money to go buy this dirt bike, and I was buying a smaller dirt bike to go race. And his son gets home from wrestling. He's like, his son doesn't want to sell the dirt bike. So Bob has this other dirt bike that I really like, and I call my dad, and he's like, Dylan, you want to go race? But I'm like, Dad, this other bike is amazing. This guy's cool. Bob was a guy, I was there, and he said, take the dirt bike, go ride it, meet me at the track. If you like it, give me money.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? She's going to hand some kid it was a $4,500 dirt bike, you know?
All the money in the world, huh?
Yeah, all the money in the world. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I don't know if it's a sales tactic or what, but I don't think it is because he's a good dude. So I hand him the money, buy the bike. I start riding dirt bikes with him and his son. And he had a used car lot in Fontana called R&B Auto Center. And back when I was younger, I'd buy and sell dirt bikes and cars and stuff, so that hustle and bustle in me. And I'm like, hey, Bob, you have anything at your car dealership I could do? Like, I want a real job, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, let me talk to my partner. So I started buying cars from him on commission only. And I crushed it for a couple weeks, and then it died. And I already quit my dishwashing job, you know? And I was like, do you have anything else? And that's how I started cutting turf for him in the back of the car lot, right? And so I ended up doing that for a few months. I had a little bit of money saved up, $35,744. We partnered together in Temecula, and we bought a truck of scraps. I'll tell you more of the story later, but bought a truck of scraps and then moved to one location to another. But Bob was that messenger in my life that, you know, he taught me different things and pushed me outside of my thinking. I thought, I'm the best guy at doing this. I'm the only one who could do this at this location. We can't scale. And he helped me look around and understand how other businesses are ran.
Right.
So I started having to trust people and do things and let people make mistakes and all that kind of stuff. And so Bob and I did business for a few years, bought him out of the company, changed some things, and, you know, thank God things went up like a rocket ship.
What's Bob doing now?
That's where the story gets hard. So Bob and I had a big falling out. Like the breakup wasn't well, right? He became somewhat of he's a big mentor in my life. I live with him and his family, right?
Yeah.
And we had a falling out. And a lot of it was because of me, some of it was because of him. And I lived with this for a very long time, up to like a couple of years ago. And I called him. Like, he would always reach out to me, but he put me through so much pain, you know? But as I was looking at the wrong perspective, and I called Bob and I said, I thanked him. I thanked him for the life I have, my kids, my family, the business. I'm like, man, you made my life. You had a successful business. I was some kid. I was able to see it finally. You know,
Yeah.
You took me in and you taught me everything, dude. And I just want to say sorry and I love you and I'm thankful. So I tell people all the time on the podcast, man, if they don't have hate.
Yeah.
You know, there's people, as you talk about, people who come in your life, they might be a good messenger or a bad messenger, but that's how you could listen and make change in your life.
Right.
And there's a lot of good things that Bob did to me and some things that I'm like, I don't want to be that guy, but he changed my life. And so anybody that I had a problem with, like, I reach out to him, I pray for him.
Yeah.
Because I don't want that on me, you
The
know?
healing power of forgiveness.
So
How was he receptive to you when he called?
Oh, I talked to, like, I'm friends with his son. I talked to his wife, and the guy was ecstatic.
Oh man, that's so good, Dylan.
So you got to let it go and you got to love people.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's a good, like, resentments.
Mm-hmm.
Resentments are tough, Dylan. And here's why. This is a very good thing to talk about for your audience. I'm a recovering addict. Resentments are the number one thing that sends people out in their addiction. That's it. Resentments. Because, I mean, if you resent a person, a place, a thing, whatever it is, a situation, if you hold on to that resentment long enough, guess what you're going to do? You're going to get high. You're going to get drunk again because you put those chemicals in, you forget about the pain, the anger that you have. But here's the thing about resentments. They're like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. They eat you up from the inside out. And a lot of times, the person, the place, whatever it is you resent, doesn't even know. And sometimes when they find out, they don't even care. You know, You're the one that carried this around and bottled up inside you the whole time. In a 12-step program recovery, I learned about resentments and I learned about how do you get rid of his resentments. So one of my resentments was against the judge in my case, Judge Snipes. It's a bigger story here with this guy. Judge Snipes and I used to go out and hang out together. We would drink together. We're in the same social circles.
And he became your judge.
He became my judge. And the reason why he was my judge, too, is because he signed the warrant for the SWAT team to get to my house, and that warrant had no probable cause. And I was trying to get the warrant thrown out. But if he didn't ever get off my case, no other judge could review the warrant. And we didn't really get along great when we hung out with each other. He was a former full-bird colonel. I was this cocky, arrogant quarterback and fraternity guy, right? That's when we meet later in college for me, in the late 90s. So I wouldn't say we were close. We were in the same social circles. We drank together, hung out together. But when I'm in his courtroom, man, I'm getting handled rough by him. And I'm pissed, man, because he's making comments like calling me the Hannibal Lecter of burglaries, you know? I mean, that kind of prejudices people against you, man. This is the judge saying that. My witnesses that I put up on the stand, my character witnesses, he's arguing with them, attacking them. And it's like, dude, this guy's going way off in a different direction. Whenever I'm in prison, I'm trying to fight my case. I'm trying to overturn my case because, I mean, I want out. Everybody in prison wants out.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm trying to fight my case, and when I find out my lawyer that I have represent me after my, when I'm in prison, he's representing me in the appeal. He finds out that Judge Snipes broke the law to try to fight me from getting a new trial. And so he caught Snipes lying. Not only that, but Snipes had put a trail of emails together with another lawyer, another judge, telling him I'm never going to let West out. All this bias is coming out, and finally gets Judge Snipes to recuse himself from my case in post-conviction. I'm in prison already, right?
The guy's after you.
The guy's after me,
In
man.
your book, you're talking about like you guys saw him at a bar and bought him a shot.
Bought him a shot when his dad died. Right, we're celebrating his dad's life in 2004. This is 4 years before I show up in his courtroom.
Yeah, he took it personal.
But dude, I mean, whatever it is I did to this dude or didn't do this dude, it's resentments, man. You can have a resentment against somebody and not even know it. I don't know that this thing that he's got for me is that strong, but in this court, he was willing to break the law to keep me in prison. And my lawyer caught him and threatened him with his bar card, man, like threatened to get disbarred for that. So Snipes gets off my case. My lawyer contacts me while I'm in prison and says, hey, man, we finally got him. He's gone. And I'm like, yes, I'm vindicated. I was right the whole time. I go down to the chapel because I'm going to go to the AA meeting that day, right? And the guy that brings the meeting in from the free world, his name is Ray. And so he's the AA sponsor guy. And I go up to Ray, and he's like, hey, man, because I was wired up, man. I got this guy, and I'm going to tell Ray about it. Because I told Ray about Snipes, and, you know, I said, hey, man, I got him. He said, who do you have, man? I said, Judge Snipes, man. I got him, and I showed him the motion. He recused himself. And I said, I finally got that son of a bitch, I got him. Ray looked at me. He said, where is your humility, Damon? And I was like, what do you mean, man? I'm the victim here, man. I didn't do anything wrong to this guy. He said, haven't you ever done anything wrong to somebody you wanted them to forgive you? He said, forgiveness is a two-way street. You have to forgive this guy. You want to be forgiven the things you did? You got to forgive Judge Snipes right now. And I said, I can't do it. I said, I can't let go of my resentment. He said, then we need to work a personal inventory because you're going to go out and get high again. You're going to go out and get drunk. And you can get drunk and high in prison all you want.
Right.
Everything's in there. And I'm like, Ray, man, that's a little bit absurd, man. I'm not going to get drunk or high over this. He goes, yes, you will. He said, let's work a personal inventory. So, for everybody listening, a personal inventory in life, in recovery, what we're always trying to do is keep our side of the street clean. Because all we can do in life is keep our side of the street clean. And you can't clean your neighbor's house. You can't go to your neighbor right now that's building a house and tell him, hey, man, look, you need to get all these trucks off the street, man. This is, no. But you can make sure that Dylan has a clean house and your side of the street is clean. That's all you can do in life. And in order to keep our side of the street clean, we have to get rid of the garbage in our life. We have to get rid of our resentments, our fears, our doubts, because these are the things that hold us back. And they can dirty our lives up if we hold on to them for too long. And so the only way to really clear that out is to work a personal inventory. Now, you're a business guy. An inventory tells you what you have in stock, right?
Absolutely.
It tells you what you're out of, too.
Right. So
in AA, they say, look, man, a business that doesn't run a regular inventory will go broke. It will, won't it, Dylan?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, because, I mean, you don't know what you have in stock. You don't know what you need to order more of.
Right.
People are going to stop going to you if you're not ever, like, stocked up, if you're always out of stuff. So personal inventory is like a business inventory. We need to make sure we have everything right in our life, and what we need more of, we get. What we don't need any more of, we get rid of. And so to work a personal inventory, he goes to the chalkboard. He draws 3 columns on the chalkboard. So he tells me, all of our reactions in life to things happen because they touch one of 3 basic instincts in life. All of our resentments, our fears, our doubts, they come from these 3 basic instincts. The instinct for social, the need to belong to something bigger than us, society, right? The need for security, to have money, to have a good job, to be able to provide for your family, to provide in life, to make a good living. The need for sex. And I don't mean sex like a promiscuous thing. I mean sex like, you would get a partner, you procreate in life, you have a family.
Right.
Social, security, and sex. Everything that happens in life touches 1 or 3 of all these. So he draws social, security, sex up on the board. He says, now, does your resentment against Judge Snipes affect your social instinct? I'm like, yeah, Ray. I'm an ex-con. I'm never going to fit into society again. Ex-cons are treated bad out there. Man, I'm an ex-con now. Right. He said, well, put a check in that box. So we checked that box. He said, does it affect your security instinct? I'm like, yeah. What kind of job am I going to get? I'm an ex-con, man. Right. Ex-cons can't get good jobs. We're pariahs out there. He said, check that box too then. So we checked that box. He said, does it affect your sex instinct? Yeah, I'm an ex-con. Who wants to be with an ex-con? What kind of partner am I going to find now? Man, I'm going to get the bottom of the barrel now because I'm an ex-con. No one good is going to want an ex-con. Yeah. He said, check that box too. Then he goes up to the board. He draws a 4th column. He said, I forgot to tell you about this column. And in that column, he wrote What role do I play? And then he gave me the chalk. He said, I want you to tell me the role that you play in your problem with Judge Snipes. I want you to write it on the board. So I go up there, and I could feel my resentment sliding away from me, Dylan. Start writing sentences like, I was a drug addict who became a criminal, who became a thief. I broke into people's homes. I stole their property. I stole their sense of security. I violated the social contract. The social contract says if you follow the rules in society, you get to live in society. But if you break the rules, you have to go to a place to get punished. And that place is a courtroom. And on the door of my courtroom, when I walked in that day, it said, the Honorable Mike Snipes, District Court 7. And he said, all of this resentment against Snipes is on you, man. It was all your fault the whole time. He said, what we have to do is find the role that we play in our problem. Because if you can find the role that you play, and you play a role in all your problems. If you find the role you play, that's the one thing you can change, that's the one thing you can affect, that's the only thing you can control. He said, your role in Judge Snipes' problem was you. You created this problem. Because of the things you did, you gave him the power to be the judge in your case. Not for you, Snipes didn't have the power. Dylan, that was the key, man. That was a turning point. That was the turning point for me, because then I could plug all my problems, all my resentments. I'm sitting in a prison, man. I got some resentments in my head. I plug them all in my personal inventory.
Isn't it funny how the problem always comes back to us?
Us.
But what is you're talking about, once you could realize that, that's when you're able to make change.
Yes, that's when you make change. And so that's what I'm doing there. I'm becoming this better version of me because I'm dropping all the garbage off, man. I heard somebody say at an AA meeting one time, the most important role in society is a garbage man, the sanitation worker, right? Because if all the garbage men quit working tomorrow, how long before society breaks down? A month? 2 months?
Right.
No one wants to live in a world where trash is all over the streets, right? No one wants to live in a nice neighborhood if there's garbage piled up. Society breaks down if the garbage man stops doing their job, and you will break down if you quit taking out your trash in your life too. And so that was whenever I was in, I'm in prison. I'm building this guy, this coffee bean guy. I'm building this brand that everybody's going to see one day later. But the only reason I was able to walk out of that prison, even make parole in the first place, is because spiritually, mentally, and then when I walked out of prison physically, I was free. When I walked out of prison on November 16, 2015, when I made parole, that first parole, it was a trifecta of freedom. I was already free spiritually. I was already free mentally. Now I'm physically free. The body has left prison. But man, I was already ready to go when I walked out. And that's
You had the whole plan.
Yeah, that's the whole plan. I mean, and so, I get out and I start speaking, and I meet Dabo Sweeney, and Dabo Sweeney turns me on to every coach in America. Then he introduced me to John Gordon. We write the book, The Coffee Bean, together. And it comes out right before the world becomes a pot of boiling water in the pandemic in 2020. And that's when the whole world discovered the Coffee Bean guy. And in 2021, my life starts taking off. And I've been on the road 20 to 25 days of every month sharing this story somewhere on the planet. I'm on the road 80% of the year. But that coffee bean thing started being born in a prison cell, in a dungeon. And my message for everybody is this, man. If I could do it in there, you could do it out here, And I understand that prison comes in many different forms, but if I could build a life like this from a maximum security level 5 prison, what's holding you back,
So good.
Yeah.
It's inspiring, man. Your story, so D1 quarterback, Wall Street, life sentence of prison.
Crime boss.
Crime boss. Become the coffee bean in prison.
Yeah.
In your book, you talk about you start doing tutoring for people to read, write, to help them get their GED.
My first service work project, man. How did
Amazing.
I serve these guys around me? I taught them how to read and write, man. Get them ready so they can be a better husband, a better father. That's what the world needs more of, by the way. The people in prison I ran into, the men I ran into, one of the biggest variables of why people are in prison is the lack of a family unit in America. It's one of the biggest problems we have in America right now. And that we need more fathers out there. Boys need men in their lives, positive male role models. And if they don't have a positive male role model, they're going to find another male role model that's not positive. That's a fact.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
It's a fact.
Get out, paralegal.
Yeah.
Right? Working for a law firm.
Yeah.
Become a professor at a college.
I got my master's in criminal justice. Yeah.
You're insane.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Husband, father.
Yeah.
Build a business. One of America's top speakers, sought after speaker.
Yeah.
Right? Your story, man, like as I told you earlier, is like there's really nobody like you, dude. Like to be able to go through what you went through, and that's why I wanted to have you here, because everybody goes through something, as you know, right?
100%.
But you're living hope. You're living hope of like what life can look like, how bad it can go. And if you turn your mind to say, this is here to serve me, look at your life at where it is now. Question I have for you.
What's
I
the
think I
question?
already know the answer, but I want people to hear this.
Go for it.
I'm sure you went through a lot of pain, right, to get to where you are. If you got to restart life, I'm not talking about burglary and all that kind of stuff, but the pain you felt, would you sign up to have that pain again, to have the life that you have now, to make the impact that you're making today?
In a
Is it
heartbeat.
worth it?
In a heartbeat. I'd do it all over again. And I answer that because, look, and I know that there's no way to dissociate the fact that I got victims tied to this decision I just made, right? I'm going to go out and do it all over again and create the victims.
Yeah, not that part, yeah.
But it's part of it, right? And I believe that, like I said, I'm a Christian. That's my higher power. And I believe everybody can pick their own higher power. But I believe that that's how God shows that he's real, you know? I know this because he told me this on the way out of prison. God told me, you're going to work for me now, man. I put you through all this for a reason. That's how I show that I'm real. I take people like you, I break them down to the base, and I'm going to make you I'm going to have the most incredible life for you.
That's who you are and what you're capable of.
But he also told me you're a vessel. And you have to understand this is my story, not your story, Damon. The minute it becomes all about Damon, you're coming back to prison. And so I know that this mission that I'm on, I'm just a vessel, man. I'm a vessel to give people hope. You just hit the nail on the head. I can give people hope no matter what you're struggling through in life, whether it's something that it's physical, spiritual, emotional that you're struggling through. There's a living, breathing example of a guy that had to deal with all these incredible obstacles in front of him. But then you look up one day and it's like, if he can do all these things, then what's holding me back?
That's right.
You ever see the movie Shawshank Redemption?
I haven't. My wife and I were talking last night. We were watching your podcast, so we've got to go see
You got to watch it. You got to watch it, man. Just order it tonight. Get it tonight and watch it. But Andy Dufresne is the main character in this movie. Him and Red. Morgan Freeman is Red. But it's all about hope. And it's about one character has no hope. I'm not going to get it away for you, but one character has no hope. One character he represents hope. And the character that represents hope, it doesn't just impact the other character, but everybody in that prison is changed because this person comes into their lives. And even when he escapes from prison one day, when Hope escapes from prison, they all sit back and tell stories about this guy, and they have a smile on their face every time they do that. And that's what it's about, man. It's about making people feel something. My job as a speaker, my job as a human being, is to make you feel something. Because if I can make you feel something, then I can create a memory. And that's where the secret sauce is. Because it's like the Maya Angelou quote. Maya Angelou, real famous author in America. She had a quote that goes something like this: people don't always remember what you say, they won't always remember what you do, but they always will remember how you make them feel. And my job is to make you feel something from my story. Because if you can feel it, you create a memory, you can do something with that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, man.
I love it. I got one more question.
Fire away, dude.
So let's say if somebody, I'm going to ask it both ways. If somebody's an egg today and they're hearing your message and say, hey, I want to be a coffee bean. Or if somebody's a carrot and says, I want to be a coffee bean.
Sure.
How would somebody get there?
Yeah. One of the things I tell people all the time is you have to surround yourself with what you want to be. Like if you want to be a coffee bean, you want to be positive, surround yourself with other positive people, you know? And maybe that's gonna mean you have to cut some family out of your life. Dude, I bet you had family when you were building this dream that told you were crazy, right? What are you doing, man? Why are you taking mom and dad's money? Or I'm not saying it's a sibling, but there had to be people that said you're crazy. Sometimes you're gonna have to get away from some of your family if they're not positive people. You know, give some space. Doesn't mean you have to stop loving them, but you got to surround yourself with what you want to be around. You know, and if you can't find anybody else to be around, be that person. Be the change that you want to see, right? And then another thing you have to do is keep the promises you make to yourself. Ed Milet, another thing Ed Milet said, he's full of all these nuggets. Confidence comes from the promises we keep to ourselves. Confidence comes from the promises you keep to yourself.
Small things. Hey, I'm going to stick this diet.
And that's what I would say. Start with small things. Start with very small things. Make these promises to yourself, and then you build confidence. You're like, hey, I can do these things because I've kept this promise, that promise, you know. Start off with making your bed, you know. Make that promise every day that I'm going to make my bed. That puts a little discipline in your life, and it clears a little clutter out. Clutter makes you a little confused, makes you a little antsy. Make your bed. One little promise. You want to get up and work out every day? Start getting up 15 minutes earlier. Don't say I'm going to start getting up an hour earlier every day. Start in little increments.
Do some push-ups.
Keep those little promises, man. Make your first workout a 10-minute workout, you know. Don't kill yourself on it. Ease into it. But you've got to start making the changes. Here's the deal. There's no cavalry coming for you. You know this. There's nobody coming to save you in this thing called life. Nobody's going to come wake you up. You are the cavalry. You are the change agent in your life. But it takes the shift of mindset that says no matter what the obstacle is in front of me, I got to go right through that, because on the other side is the best version of me. Wherever you go, there you are, Dylan. You take you with you everywhere. So take the best version of you. And if you want to become the best version of you, then you got to put in the work. No one else can do it for you.
It's well said.
Thanks, brother.
This was awesome, Damon. You're multi-dimensional.
Dude,
and I've tried to say it in different ways, but like sitting here with you today, I've watched you, right? I've seen you on all the big podcasts of the guys I've been looking up to, been watching your story. Like, you've made change in my life, and I've told you that the day I met you. Now you're sitting here at my house on a podcast with me.
Crazy house too, man. This is incredible, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. But dude, it's not just you had the finance. You're changing life, right? You're a great family man. You're a godsend. Like, everything, it's almost like you hyper focus, it seems like, in every area of like, I'm going to try to become the best here, become the best here, become the best here. And I know you're real. And this journey you're on, you've been doing this for a while. You could have probably stopped a while and did something else. But as you talked about, of like, you have that, you think about it every day on how you could be a godsend and do God work, man. You've dedicated your life to it. Like, nobody who signs up to travel over 200 days a year.
Yeah, but here's the deal too, man. I get knocked down a lot, and I want people to know that. Like, I lose all the time, but I get back up, you know, because whenever you get to the place in life where you know that you're on the right mission, it's whenever you find yourself in the hole, the foxhole, the bullets are flying over you, you know, you're in the corner, man. You've been told no 7 times the first hour, like that night all those coaches I met that night. Whenever you can do this one thing, you know you're in the right spot. When you can stop seeing the negative going around you and focus on the victories you had in life. Remember the times you won. Remember the wins, man. Focus on that. And that's what I have to do too. Every time I get knocked down a lot. There's a lot of places I want to go, podcasts I want to be on.
Yeah.
You know, they won't even look my way. But you know what I do? I focus on the ones that I get to get on. I focus on being on Dylan's podcast today.
That's cool.
I focus on the wins, man. All these little wins in life is what makes you who you are. But some people, they want to think about the things they don't have. Be grateful for the things you do.
That's right.
Build on that. Remember the victories.
Yeah, and if you don't quit, your losses will then turn into a win if you don't give up.
Absolutely. You didn't give up on your turf dream. I mean, it wasn't even your dream at first. It was something that evolved and manifested.
That's right.
And I mean, dude, I can't wait to watch what goes on in your life. You're 32 years old,
thank
man.
you.
So it's just like, this is like an incredible journey to be a part of. I'm grateful to be a part of your life. You push me. I watch your stories all the time.
Oh,
you notice
thanks,
we're going
dude.
back and forth
Yeah,
liking each
yeah.
other's stuff, man. It's because I do, man. I tap into you.
Oh, it
The
means a lot.
motivators need motivating too, man.
That's right.
So you motivate me.
I love it.
Thank you for today.
Thank you, Damon.
Yeah, brother.
Do good, guys.